Welcome, Stephanie. Thank you for meeting with me.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, all right, we're going to jump right in. Stephanie Bermudez is the founder and CEO of Startup Unidos, and Startup Unidos is dedicated to fostering collaboration, innovation, and entrepreneurship in underserved border communities along the USA-Mexico border since 2015. She's an important Explorer partner. She helped build our programming in Nogales from the very beginning, and we're coming up on our 5 years. So it means a lot to have you here, and I'm super excited to be interviewing you for Women's History Month. So thank you.
Thanks, Jen. I appreciate you.
Yeah, same. And I can't wait to catch up beyond this. So we'll jump right into questions because we want to know all about you and we want to share your story with all our folks in VL. So, first, what inspired you to create Startup Unidos? And was there a moment, experience, or gap that you saw that made you feel that this work was necessary to exist and that you were the one that was going to build it?
Yeah, for sure. I love that. I love that origin story for me because, like many young people, I left Nogales. I didn't really have a plan to create much of a career in Nogales. In fact, when we're young, many individuals in our community, our parents, as our coaches, as our teachers, they're asking us what it is that we're going to do once we're done with school outside of our own community. So it took me being gone half my life after leaving Nogales to return. And it was a mentor of mine who found me in Tucson as I was working in community development and economic development for private investors and developers, and said, "Hey, you just might have the skills to help us start an innovation campus in Nogales." And my first thought was like, there's no way innovation in Nogales. Absolutely not. I mean, innovation is hard. I was leading at establishing what is now like Tucson's innovation district, and I couldn't see it. I mean, we were coming up against challenges in a place like Tucson, so certainly I couldn't have imagined that for Nogales. Um, but because this individual was a trusted mentor of mine, and I leaned into the idea, and it honestly is the reasoning on why I kicked off Startup Unidos. Little did I know that the work that I was doing in Tucson was already directly impacted by the economy and how that's impacted by what comes in and outside of the border. I realized what the economic impact was there, and I had an opportunity to be able to play faux CEO as part of this like program to unfold this innovation campus in Nogales. And I realized so many things that once I left and the project was over, I couldn't stop. I felt a sense of responsibility. And it took me about a year and a half after having done that work, where I decided to go back. And the going back was interesting because a lot of that same push to leave or questions on like, hey, what happened out there? You're back. You must have failed. Something must have gone wrong for you to be here in this place now with even refined skills. What do you think you're going to do here? Sort of mentality. So that was 11 years ago, that I started that process. And I made it a passion of mine to start Startup Unidos in Nogales, in that place that I once had that fixed mindset that nothing is possible there. And it would have been easy for me to, establish Startup Unidos in Phoenix or in Tucson, in places where I was already a trusted professional and I had pre-established networks, and perhaps, the word innovation or wasn't as scary of a word, but it was still fairly new. I stuck to my guns, and I'm grateful that I did because now we're the only organization that has consistently been able to offer these types of services. And I'm able to support Nogales, but also other border communities and other, similarly disadvantaged places away from where we're servicing.
Mhm. Yeah, that's amazing. Um, and like you can hear the journey came from like leaving the place thinking that you needed to in order to pursue what you wanted and then realizing that you could have an impact back where you were from, which is pretty incredible. And something we hear often in our Explore program in the places that we visit. So, That makes sense. All right. As a woman building and leading in the entrepreneurship and innovation space, what experience have most shaped your leadership style, and how have those experiences influenced the way that you show up for others?
For sure. So I was actually taught by a woman on how to best approach communities. My organization was uniquely supported by Maribel Alvarez, who's an angel. She's a leader. She's held many different leadership roles within the College of Social Sciences at the University of Arizona. The College of Social Sciences, specifically the Southwest Folklife Alliance, was one of Startup Unidos' first clients, actually, the Startup Unidos' first client. And I used, I learned and was able to apply, for example, like social asset mapping to how it is that we lead in a space. So some of these, I was able to follow along with ethnography training to be able to do my data collection. Essentially, I applied a different lens, a social science lens, to what it was that I was creating, and I was led by a team of mostly women. So I learned a lot about my leadership, my responsible leadership, through a group at the University of Arizona who was already doing it, who helped me shape to be more responsible. And that was important for me because it was a different angle than what you might commonly see in a community like Nogales, where there is a greater need for more women representation in leadership circles. And I hadn't quite built myself up to being able to occupy one of those seats in one of the leadership circles, but I was already on my way to becoming a more responsible leader and understanding that um, as a woman, I'm more likely to be in spaces with other women doing different types of work, specializing in different areas. So I have more to contribute or a different value in my contribution as a woman than perhaps others who are not. Who don't identify as. The other thing is as a woman, I'm also a woman to approach. So there are women who feel more comfortable in me leading. The majority of my clients are women, so I resolve for a lot of issues and challenges that women are looking to create solutions for. And I really appreciate that because a woman doesn't just think of herself; she thinks of her whole household. So in touching a woman and helping women and being a woman, I see how that impact spreads, and that makes me really excited both about being a woman, but especially being a woman in a border community, leading in this way.
Yeah, I love that. I don't think I realized that the majority of your clients were women. So,
Yeah, they are.
um, yeah, what a beautiful opportunity to like make an impact. Okay. And then from your perspective, what unique barriers have you faced in entrepreneurship and how has Startup Unidos working to change that reality?
Mhm, for sure. So, when there is, I've had to become trauma informed about my because there are these words like entrepreneurship and innovation. Immediately, we already start car like putting us ourselves in different compartments on whether or not we fit that identity. Am I the entrepreneur? Am I the technology person? Am I and what is innovation? When we think of these words, our minds go into different places and we choose whether or not we belong in these places. So a lot of the work that I do is really it's a mindset shift, and I'm up against oftentimes being the misunderstood entity. She is the young one, the techie one, the innovative one. There's a whole slew of new terminology that I utilize, to be able to describe the spaces in which I'm in that are not common. It's not the common language of the spaces that I've entered. So it's a lot of like cultural adjustments, a lot of educating. Um, and truly, these are not spaces where I could geek out about everything that I know, and truly unleash my full intellect, on the topics. Um, I have to be on the ground. with the people that I'm working for. I'm a responsible listener, and I've been able to establish a good reputation on that approach. Going back to asking the right questions and believing what it is that you're told before you're servicing. I've been incredibly careful about not copying and pasting what is happening in Phoenix or what it is that I've learned in Tucson, but taking a unique approach to the people that it is that I'm serving, and also adjusting for the leadership, in the different communities, because I started my work in Nogales, but I now provide our services in across all border communities in southern Arizona. So I work in Yuma County, I work in Cochise County, as well across Santa Cruz County. So I've had to learn to understand where there are commonalities, where things are the same, and then where there are really unique factors across every one of our communities. And that's something that I keep at the forefront of the work that I do. And it's in listening and believing and responding to what is needed there. Because a lot of the frustration that I've seen from I'm considered an insider outsider. So a lot of the frustration that comes from people who come from the outside to lead from within is that we assume that we know what is needed in these communities without understanding that the solutions are already available and that they know much better about what will work for their own community than those that come in from the outside. And I'm including myself because I truly am an insider outsider, having left my Nogales for half my life. So yeah, that's that. I would say that that's like the at the forefront of how I lead.
Yeah, yeah. I love that because I think, as you know, like that is woven into how Explore was designed, is this like place-based, community-led, and understanding that the unique challenges, while it may seem like you can apply similar ideas or solutions, it's just not the reality. That every place you go is unique and that you have to look to the existing community to understand how their challenges need to be addressed, right? And that as an outsider, that's not really our job. Like it's our job to listen and understand and support in ways that we can, right? But not to be leading that charge. And I think that that's so important.
Absolutely.
Um, okay, let's see. So now, why does representation in leadership matter, especially for women entrepreneurs who may not always see themselves reflected in traditional innovation spaces?
For sure. I think it matters a whole lot, but I don't think that we need to allow ourselves for it to hold us back necessarily. We know that we're underrepresented. We know that in most spaces. I'm not going to say in every space because there are some spaces like in the philanthropy space, right, where we're alive and thriving as women. I've had mixed experiences, right? So I've been invited to tables where I've been the only one of my gender, and I've also led in spaces where there it's everybody is the same gender. There's more women than there are men. I think as a woman leader, what makes it interesting is that I am approached by people who, as I mentioned before, I'm a different type of person, of a profile that people can see because I have different a background, different experiences. I'm a mother. I'm from Nogales. I'm uniquely carved my own career. I also work with youth, right? I think that youth are accustomed to seeing more of like a female presence when it comes to like education. So many of us leaders that kind of raise that next generation are women. There's so many benefits to me being a woman, but I've often been excluded from being able to participate in resolving some of the issues that uniquely impact me. So, in that same way, women see how they can resolve issues for themselves through me. So, I'm a model in that aspect, just like as other women have been a model for me. As I mentioned that, I learned from other women. It's incredibly important that that diversity exists and that other women can see themselves fulfilling these seats and these roles. Um, because sometimes we can't even imagine. We don't know what we don't know. I personally had an experience recently where there already is women leadership, but perhaps there wasn't a woman like me leading in that space. And that could mean something for any type of woman, right? Like whatever that means for me, it could mean something different for you. But when I saw myself in this person in leadership, I said, wow, I would have never led in this space. But after having seen this person lead, where I can see myself in her, I think it's super exciting to lead in that space. Now, I'm curious enough to then turn the leaf and be like, what is this position all about? What if I were to be leading in that position? What if I were to, my next growth plan be a part of my plan? So I am that as well as other women are that for me. And I find it incredible important for leadership tables to be more intentionally diversified, and where there might be some stipulations that might keep like really good high functioning women from participating, that those guards be brought down, so that there is more space for this type of diversity, because it boosts society, economy, and everything along the way, by being able to allow for more diverse leadership.
Hmm. Hmm. Yes, thank you for sharing that. I love that. It feels like cyclical, right? There's like everyone's learning from each other and benefiting from each other. Um, okay. So Startup Unidos is known for its community-centered approach, as we've kind of touched on. How do you intentionally create spaces where women feel supported, confident, and empowered to take risks? I think you've kind of touched on this already, but is there anything you'd want to
Sure,
kind
I'm going to give you an
of?
example. So we just recently held a 2-day AI masterclass for small business certification. Um, Classic. The majority of the audience was women. I do not intentionally promote my programs to women, but women show up. They're ready. They're eager. They're hungry. And what I intentionally did is I reviewed my registration list. I knew not only that they were women, but I knew their generation. I knew their background. And I knew what it's been like for me in previous experiences working with specifically mixed groups where the majority are women from this generation. And I intentionally tailored my program to be culturally relevant, for all my examples to fit things that they could relate to, and they could have a yes, I get it, where they could feel like they had a sense of belonging, where they didn't feel like this technology was outside of their ability. Um, I think about all those things, Jen, and I learned how to do those things by listening, by having not always done it or tried to do it the best I could at first, but then gotten feedback in the, I realize I'm the oldest person in the room. I realize that I'm the only dummy that doesn't, that can't catch on. I realize, I became trauma informed about the work that I do so that I could modify it, because it's not just about the need. It truly is about how being sensitive to how these places, like Nogales and other border communities, and really for the matter, any place that we served, is has been generationally impacted. And some of the things that the choices that we make are not choices because we know it, but because we were programmed to stay away from it, because at one point maybe it was harmful to business, to family, to health, to society, to whatever it might be. So the spaces and the people that I work with are traumatized.
Mm,
We all are, um, and dreams are sensitive. I tread on dreams so softly.
mm,
I love being able to now give women and other disadvantaged groups access to technology like AI, like generative AI, because these women now are dusting off their ideas. They're producing their prototypes. They're getting their concepts out. There are solutions that maybe in the past they felt like um, I didn't catch on to the internet. I never learned how to design. I graduated from college, 25 years ago. My kids are out of the house. I don't know what to do with myself now. I'm full of ideas, but I'm restricted for whatever social economic, factors there might be. So I show women how to take the reins of artificial intelligence, generative AI, and get things done. And what it does for women's self-esteem, for their confidence, for their, I mean, you can just see them wake up or be re-energized, as being able to participate in the economy. So I'm really excited to see what us women are going to put out there, what we're going to solve. Especially women who felt like maybe they were left out of being able to participate in the economy and what technology could do for them now. I'm feeling super grateful for artificial intelligence because before, being the woman with the all that tech language and being misunderstood and stuff has it's made it easier because it's more accessible. It's more like um, a point and pull the trigger and you get a result versus like, before it wasn't as easy. So I'm excited that I stuck with it, for as long as I have, because certainly when I started, I was the crazy one, talking innovation on the border.
Mhm.
But now we're there, and we had 69 people sign up to our artificial intelligence class
Wow,
with.
that's amazing.
So I'm so grateful that when they were ready, we were there ready to offer it. And yeah, that makes me happy, super happy.
Yeah, that's such an incredible example. And also, like, I can imagine, like, the feeling that you must get watching these women, like, have that kind of aha moment and that shift in, like, their confidence. That's incredible.
It's the best. It's literal uplifting, it's life-changing, it's leading people towards self independence, self-sufficiency. It's for every age. It doesn't discriminate. Absolutely in love with it.
I
Yeah.
love that. Okay, one more question, and then I want to ask you about our principles of doing. So, during Women's History Month, we often reflect on progress and possibility. What kind of legacy do you hope that your work leaves for the next generation of women leaders and entrepreneurs?
Mm. You know, I think oftentimes like maybe we're waiting for permission, to kind of like show up. Um, I hope that I'm remembered for trying something in a place that was programmed with this inability of being able to do anything, right? I really fought up against the grain. I'm going up against um, what people believe is possible, and belief is super powerful. I started this before I was ready. I started this before Nogales was ready. I started this before it was popular. Um, it took a lot of believing in myself, right? And not accepting the status quo and not keeping like society, right? Or my mistakes from continuing to help me push forward. And I'm a woman. So I've had to work harder,
Mhm.
maybe 200 and maybe 300%, harder. Um, I didn't come in with with a family system that, um, I'm the first generation of Mexicans who got a chance on this side of the border. And my father led, and I followed his footsteps as a woman, but I'm still different. So I would say that that's what I'm hoping that I carve out with, and that women can model is that do it,
Yeah.
do it when you're ready, do it because you can, and if there's not a table there for you, build one
Mhm.
and invite the right type of people to join you at it.
Mhm. Mhm.
Mhm.
Okay, that was beautiful. Okay, final question. At Valley Leadership, we've chatted before about our principles of doing. Which of our principles of doing is currently resonating most with you? And as a reminder, we've got integrity, team mindset, building trust, Arizona first, and driven to do.
Driven to do rings well to me, and I think that when people think of me, they also often describe me as a doer, as a bridge, as a connector. So that's the one that rings the most to me. And it shines on the advice that I just gave, to just kind of go out and do it before you're ready. But yeah, I'm the go-to. I'm definitely the doer, the get it done person.
Yeah, you take the steps.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
I would agree with that. Well, thank you so much. Is there anything else that you want to leave us with, your website or social media or anything that you would, where if people want to learn more or keep in contact or anything like that?
Yeah, the best way for you to get excited about the work that we do is to follow us on either Instagram or Facebook, where we do quite a bit of storytelling. And you'll be able to learn about what we're up to on the day to day. I want to get you encouraged to learn more about AI Without Borders, which is the series that we're offering, where we're helping small businesses use generative AI to get ahead. You can find all of this information at startupunidos.com. I'm also personally available on LinkedIn and check it quite often. So if you want to make a direct contact with me and you just want to exchange ideas or pick my brain or join any of our programs, I'd be happy to hear from you. So thanks so much. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. And yeah, and if you want to join Explore, you can come meet Stephanie and see all the incredible things that does and all the connections she's made to help build this program. So thank you, Stephanie, so much. And yeah, I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, man. See you in Nogales.